Hello and welcome to RV Advisors All Things RV Podcast. I am your host, Kathy Conrad. I've been enjoying the RV lifestyle for 5 years and I love helping new RVers realize their RV dreams. This podcast is about RV education, resources, adventures, and the amazing people who love RVing. It is also about discovering the freedom RVers experience, the connection with nature we are all so grateful for, and how RVing enriches our lives. On this podcast, you can expect us to talk about all things RV, including the good stuff, the challenging stuff, and everything in between. So, join us weekly and enjoy the lineup of guests we have in store for you. Hey friend, welcome back to the podcast. Today I wanted to chat a little bit about the transition from living in a home to full-time in an RV and some of the things that you can experience and maybe some ways to help with the situations you might be struggling with a little bit or might be a challenge to being full-time, things you might be missing. Going full-time in an RV is a huge change. It really is. We can miss things that we had in our home that we no longer have. We may have left friends and family behind that we're used to seeing on a regular basis. And we may find ourselves missing them in the interaction that was so familiar and kept us, feeling connected. There's so many levels of change when you become a full-time RVer that we must navigate as we adjust to being full-timers. It just takes some time. There's lots of reasons why people may decide to RV full-time. And those different reasons and ways of RVing are all a little bit different. So being a weekend warrior is very different than being full-time stationary. And full-time travel is very different than the first two. So my husband and I are kind of a combination. We were weekend warriors and took a couple of long trips a year. And we did 2 weekends a month actually for the first 2 years and then a couple of long trips. And then we decided to sell our house early. We were going to wait till we retired, which created this gap. So my husband's still working and he's location dependent, so I can do what I do from anywhere. So we are full-time and stationary and going into year 4 of that, but we still take a couple of long trips a year and maybe a couple of long weekends. But for me, being stationary, that's the hardest part. I would like to be going places. So it's just a matter of waiting and dealing with things. Plus we moved states. We moved to a new location. So when you are first going full-time, while you're making that adjustment, and it's fun and it's exciting, that's all part of it. But, in my podcast, I like to cover all of it, the good, the difficult or challenging, and everything in between. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about the challenges. So we may find ourselves out of your regular daily routine. We may find ourselves out of our workout or exercise routine. Maybe our eating habits have changed. Maybe we're missing our friends and family and feeling a bit isolated. That can all happen. It's a huge change, especially, when you say we were in our house for 20 years, right? So it was very different, although we were very familiar because we were already RVing. There's still an adjustment, and there's things that you're just going to absolutely love about it and things that won't be quite as appealing, but we still have to learn, to deal with those things. So this is where self-care comes in. It's particularly important, when we've uprooted ourselves and created so many changes, because even positive change and excitement for new adventures, it can still be stressful and even lead to feeling depressed and isolated, which is why I feel like self-care plays such an important role. When we went full-time, it was exciting and I still love it. And here are some things that I miss about not living in our house. I miss my yoga room. My mornings started out a few steps down the hallway, either on my yoga mat or on my spin bike, and this allowed me to start my days in a great way, both physically and mentally. Yoga and a bit of quiet meditation and a gratitude practice was a great way to start my days. I also miss having a nice yard and a dog door for my dogs to have the freedom to come and go in and out as they want. So they don't have that now. They have to be on leash, or we used to put up a little fence. Right now we have one of those screw-in things into the grass and hook up a couple cables. So I feel bad for them, which actually means we walk a lot more, which is good for me too. There's some really nice dog parks here that are separate, small and large dogs. So those have been really a saving grace for my dogs because they're both young and full of energy. So I also miss having my washer and dryer and my dishwasher. Some days it feels like I'm doing dishes all day long. Going to a laundry facility, I still despise it. I still don't like it. And using the upright washers, it just beats the heck out of your clothes. It's ruined all my clothes, all my sweaters and everything. So that part, I don't think I'll see myself getting over. I'll just be so grateful when we have a property and we have a washer and dryer again. The other thing is that I miss my friends. There's times when I have felt isolated, I felt out of sorts and unproductive. That's not a good feeling. So I made a decision that I needed to buckle down on my self-care and get back to myself and embrace the things that I knew from experience worked for me, but I had lost sight of. For the first time in my life since we went, actually, I guess it's been since COVID. I don't have a gym membership. I have one now, but I don't like it. So I just tend to do a lot more walking. We try to go hiking and still practice yoga. So I found probably one of the biggest things is establishing a routine has been really helpful for me. So stop and think about what would that look like for you. If you're stationary and full-time again, that routine may be different than if you're traveling a lot. So for each of you, establishing a routine may look very different. But I try to get up at around the same time every morning. I like to make the bed. That starts my day. And I take the dogs out for a walk. That gets me up, gets me outside, gets me moving. And that's a great way to start my day. 4 days of the week, I practice and teach yoga, and that is super helpful physically and mentally. So these activities help me to start out in a positive space mentally, to feel good physically. And for a long time, I wasn't eating breakfast, and I would find that some days I wouldn't eat all day until dinner time, and I was not drinking enough water. So by the end of the day, I would be hangry, which is not good, and dehydrated, which is not good either. So after some prodding from my acupuncturist, I reincorporated a healthy breakfast back into every morning. And it really has made a huge difference. Funny, she said, I've never had someone come back and tell me that they feel worse now that they're having breakfast every day. So she was right. So I'm glad she really stressed that I do that. So I'm still working on blocking off time in my calendar for my business and other things that I need to accomplish throughout the week. I do some of that, but at the very least, I make a list for each day, and that really helps. I've always been a list maker. The other thing is that I'm so grateful to have my son, daughter-in-law, and my grandson, who's almost 4, very close by. They're right around the corner from us. We can walk back and forth. And it really is my greatest joy to spend time with family. I'm not sure I could do it without them. I would really feel lonely and isolated. And of course, my husband, he's working during the day on site. He works in construction as a superintendent. And I work from home, so I spend a lot more time by myself. So I'm grateful to have that family connection and close by. But there are friends I dearly miss, and it's easy to get really busy and lose touch, but I've really tried to make a habit of connecting with at least one of my old friends per week and have a conversation to get that connection again. Human connection is so important, and it's different being stationary. We've been stationary at 2 different places in 2 different states. The first one, it was so easy to meet people and make friends. Where we're at now, not so much. So it's just different. So my husband and I have a Zoom call with friends about once a month on a Friday evening. It's always so nice to connect with them. We met them when we lived at the 49er in California. We were there for 2 years, and we met them there. And it started out our dogs were best friends, and then we became best friends. And they moved out before we did. They had started building their house on their property, so they moved their 5th wheel up there. And we missed them then, but we at least were close enough to visit each other. And when we go back to California, we always go to see them. But we try to do a Zoom call. And so it's a lot of fun to at least connect over Zoom. It's better than nothing at all. But, we just need to make the effort and the time to reconnect with the important people in our life. And it's so easy to get, you find yourself getting so busy, and then you're tired at the end of the day. But I just shoot them a text. We will text each other and then schedule a time to hop on to Zoom. So, RV life is amazing and fun, but we need to give ourselves grace for the times that we find it challenging and maybe missing aspects of our old life. And it's important to take time to reflect and be conscious of the things that we need to keep us whole and living our best life. And sometimes it really is the small and simple things that make a huge difference. Things like routine, gratitude for what we do have, and being able to pick up the phone and hop on FaceTime or Zoom to connect with those who are far away and important to us. Change is inevitable in life, and some of it we have control over, and some of it we don't. So we might as well make the best of it when possible and keep a sense of humor for the rest. So maybe sit down and write down some things around self-care that you can go to when you might be missing your old life or feeling isolated, feeling out of sorts, any of those things. That's how we feel. We can change that by changing some of our habits and our mindset around things. RV life is very different. It's kind of a counterculture. The other thing is connecting with other RVers. Make some new RV friends. That may be easy to do where you might be. It may be not so easy. Enjoy the lifestyle. It is pretty amazing. But don't forget to give yourself some grace for the challenging things that you might have to deal with through RVing. One thing I'll share with you, since I have not had an easy time meeting people or making friends currently where I am, I came across a group. It's actually a podcast that I've listened to called RV Queens Podcast. And the host of that is Kate White. And she actually has a community of RV women entrepreneurs that she has put together. There's a small monthly subscription. It's not much at all. It's way worth it. But it's just an opportunity for other full-time RV women. Some of them are young moms that are homeschooling. They're all, trying to run a business on the road. And it's just a really great group of women. And it feels really nice to be part of a community of like-minded people that are all living this counterculture, enjoying the adventure and also trying to run a business at the same time. So there's some cool things that happen, like a Wednesday morning working group that I go to every week. And she breaks everybody up at the beginning of each month into different groups. And we communicate over Marco Polo, which is an app that I was not familiar with before, but we just all go on and post videos. There's topics of the week and that sort of thing. So it's just a really great way to meet other amazing women and share ideas around our business and our experiences and bounce ideas off of each other and just get to know each other. So it's been a lot of fun. So I'll drop a link down in the show notes to the website. And also I have a coupon code. I'm an affiliate. So if you use a coupon code, you get a discount as well. So anyway, it's coupon code Cathy, Cathy. I'll drop that below as well in the notes. But just another way to connect with people and make some new friends. So thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in today to RV Advisors All Things RV Podcast. Please join us again next week for more RV education, resources, adventures, and interesting people. Until then, wishing you amazing adventures, safe travels, and I hope to see you on the road.